I'm a senior developer who hires people in the games industry, and I'm going to be honest with you, it's harder than ever to land that first job. Studios are swamped with applications, every opening gets flooded, the resumes look the same, the portfolios look the same, and most of them don't give me a reason to stop scrolling. If you want a programming job, a degree isn't enough. Knowing Unity or Unreal isn't enough. You need proof, not vague claims proof that you can solve hard problems. And that doesn't have to be 10 finished games. It can be one single, truly impressive technical project that makes me think, alright, this person can handle real engineering work. Pick something that makes you stand out. Maybe you built a custom threat pool with work stealing, task affinities and benchmarks that show how it reduces tail latency compared to the default job system. Maybe you wrote a fluid simulator, stable, fast, GPU accelerated with a clean CPU fallback, and you can explain where you traded precision for performance. Maybe you implemented a tiny physics engine with a broad phase, narrow phase and a simple constraint solver, and you profiled it until you understood every hotspot. Maybe you have a deterministic rollback netcode prototype that withstands packet loss and latency spikes, and you can show how you reconcile inputs across frames. One project like that, done deeply, will carry you further than a dozen surface level demos, and you do not need to bring a working demo to the interview. If you've got a solid video that shows the system under test with overlays, graphs or log output, that's absolutely fine. I don't have time to run every candidate repo, build every sample app and install dependencies for half a day. A clear README is nice, but it's not the gate. What matters is that you can walk me through what you built and how you built it. If your video makes the behavior obvious, here's the baseline, here's the optimized version, here's the profiler timeline by, you're already doing better than most applicants. When I look at a project, I'm listening for a story. What problem did you choose? What were the constraints? What naive approach did you try first? And why wasn't it good enough? What did you change? Where did you hit a wall? What trade-offs did you make? Memory for speed, complexity for stability, precision for performance. And then give me numbers. We went from 18 milliseconds per frame to 4.6 milliseconds after batching and introducing a lock-free queue. Sentences like that build trust fast. Unfinished projects are not an automatic red flag. What matters is clarity. What exactly did you build, what works today, what remains, and why you made the choices you made. If you show me a system that's 70% done but the core is solid and you can clearly explain the architecture, the bottlenecks, and the next steps, that's valuable. The problem isn't unfinishedage. The problem is, I can't tell what's yours, what's working, or what you learned, so be explicit. I finished the broad phase with a uniform grid, the narrow phase is SAT for convex polygons, constraint solver is a simple sequential impulse, and next I'd switch to a hierarchical grid to reduce cell overlap. That's a great answer. Social skills matter just as much as the technical. Making games is a team sport. If you can't talk to people, collaborate, and handle feedback, I can't put you on a team no matter how clever your code is. In an interview, I'm listening for someone who asks clarifying questions before diving in, who can explain their thinking in plain language, who can disagree without being difficult. Be kind, be curious, and give credit. If you say, I don't know, but here's how I'd find out, that's a green flag. Confidence plus humility beats bravado every single time. Here's what I actually ask in interviews. I won't ask you to live edit your project. I'm not going to hand you your own code and say, change it on the spot. What I will do is ask you to talk me through it. Start from the top. What problem were you solving? Why did it matter? What constraints did you set? And what metrics were you optimizing for? Then go one level deeper. Show me the architecture data flow threading model where the hot path lives. Then one level deeper, explain a tricky bug you hit and how you diagnosed it. Maybe it was a subtle race condition, false sharing, cache thrashing, or a precision issue in your integrator. How did you test and verify the fix? If you can do that calmly and clearly, you're already ahead. If you're looking for ideas that consistently stand out, here are a few directions that map to real studio problems. A tiny ECS with a custom memory layout and a profiler panel, a GPU particle system with CPU comparison, and a write-up about synchronization costs, a deterministic fixed-step physics sandbox with record replay tools, a 2D navigation pipeline that supports incremental updates when tiles change, a lightweight level streaming system that hits zero hitching with a clear residency budget, a multi-threaded asset pipeline with job dependencies and progress tracking, a texture streaming system with eviction policy and visual debugging. None of these require a full game. Each demonstrates engineering judgment. Scope it so you can finish enough to tell a compelling story. Give yourself 4 to 6 weeks. Week 1 is scaffolding repo, minimal sample, logging, a basic profiler overlay, and a baseline benchmark that reproduces the problem. Weeks 2 and 3 build the simplest working version first, then implement your real approach. Week 4, testing, measurement, and polish. If you have extra time, add one wow feature and a clean video that shows the before-after and the profiling timeline. That's all you need. Keep it tight. Reduce variables so your improvements are easy to see. How do you present it so it lands? Make a short video, 3 to 7 minutes, that shows the system in action, overlays metrics, and narrates your decisions. Include a couple of graphs or on-screen counters so improvements are obvious at a glance. If you want to share code, that's great, just make it skimmable. But again, I'm not judging you on whether I can run your repo. I'm judging whether you can explain your work like a teammate who wants others to succeed with it. When you apply, tailor the framing. For a gameplay role, emphasize iteration speed, clear APIs for designers, testability, and readability under change. For engine or tools roles, highlight performance, data-oriented design, multi-threading, build tooling, and observability. For online roles, focus on reliability, failure modes, metrics, and backpressure. Connect the dots for me. This project maps to your job description because it solves the same class of problems. Common pitfalls? Not showing your thinking. If your portfolio is a handful of tutorial clones, I can't tell what's yours. If you used AI to write code but you can't explain it, that's a problem. Not because you used AI, but because you don't own the decisions. And if your explanation stays at the buzzword level, it's optimized, it's multi-threaded, it's GPU accelerated dry, I'm going to keep digging until I find the details. Make it easy for me, be specific. Let's wrap this up. It's harder than ever to get a job in the games industry. The pile of applications is huge, but you don't need to beat the entire pile, you need to stand out. One excellent, well-explained technical project can get you there. Not a flashy deck, not a mountain of half-finished demos, one thing you deeply understand, can prove with a clear video, and can talk through in detail. And remember, social skills matter. A big part of making games is being able to talk to people. Show the interviewer you're someone who's nice and fun to work with, who communicates clearly, listens, and takes ownership. I meet so many people who will never get a job working in games. Not because they're not talented, but because they never learn how to present their value. Don't become one of them. Pick a hard problem, build something real, tell a clear story with numbers, practice explaining it like a teammate. Do that, and you'll give someone like me a reason to say, yes, let's bring them on.